Hi, this is Pastor Craig Hostetler, and I'd like to welcome you to this edition of Ask Pastor Craig. Thank you for joining me this evening. My question tonight is this: as a child of God, as a Christian, what is the most important thing that we should be doing? Thank you for your question this evening. And although your question is very important, it's really not one that's very hard for us to answer. In fact, Jesus is asked this same question in the book of Matthew, chapter 22, starting at verse 34. Hearing that Jesus had silenced the Sadducees, the Pharisees got together, one of them an expert in the law, and tested him with this question: "Teacher, which is the greatest commandment in the law?" And Jesus replied, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. And the second is like it: love your neighbor as yourself. And all the law and all the prophets hang on these two commandments." You know, whenever we talk about what is the most important thing that we should be doing, or whenever we talk about what is the most important element in our relationship with God, we always have to stop at this place first, and that is the place of love. Because there are a few things that are as important to God as is this element of love. In fact, 1 John chapter 4, verse 8 says this: "Whoever does not love does not know God, because God is love." So how is it that we are supposed to love? We're supposed to love the same way that God loved, and that's with our whole heart, and that is sacrificially, and that is without condition. Now, that may not necessarily be the easiest thing to do, but that is what is required of us, and that's what we're called to do. Romans chapter 5, verse 8 says this: "But God demonstrates His own love for us in this, that while we were still sinners, Christ died for us." So while we were still enemies with God, while we were still separated from God, God reached out in an act of love and provided a way of salvation for us. God's love isn't one that is merely verbal. It's not one that's merely vocalized, but it is one that is active and effective and powerful and evident. And that's the way that you and I are supposed to love. You know, many years ago now, when my grandfather passed away, at his memorial service there was a table, and on that table was his Bible. And he'd had the same Bible for many, many years. In fact, it was held together by electrical tape. I remember going up to that Bible and thumbing through it, and page after page had been marked with a variety of markings and highlighted as he had studied through the years and made all these different notes on all these different pages. And when I came to the back page of that Bible, in big, bold letters, it said these words: "Love, it's all about love." As if everything he had read and everything he had studied had led him to this one conclusion: it's all about love. In fact, Jesus said that, didn't he? He said all the law and all the prophets hang on this, that you love God with all your heart, mind, and soul, and you love your neighbor as you love yourself. What a critical thing that is for us to remember today. Well, thank you for listening this evening. Before I let you go, I would like to one more time invite you to the HCC Metal Fest. That is a heavy metal concert at the Heron Civic Center in Heron, Illinois on August the 24th. And we have an incredible lineup. Pastor Bob Beeman will be speaking at 4:15. Oblivion Myth will play around 6. Hope for the Dying will play around 7, and Sacred Warrior will play around 8 o'clock. And the schedule's a little loose, but that's roughly it. Tickets are only $10. Man, we'd really like to see you there. If you need more information on this, you can check a couple of Facebook pages out: facebook.com/ROR Ministries or facebook.com/HCC Metal Fest. Well, thank you so much for listening this evening, and God bless you today in Jesus' name.